Hi, welcome to Petradot. And in today's lesson, we are going to be discussing the while loop. But before that, what is a loop? A loop, generally in programming, is used to repeat a set of instruction or run a block of code until a certain condition is met. Take for instance, when a tap is running, you turn on a tap to fill in water into a container. You turn on the tap keeps running until the condition that the container is filled is met. So when the container is filled, the tap goes what? Off. So it means that the loop, that is the running of the water, is a continuous loop whereby the water comes out from the tap until that container is filled up. And this is exactly what is happening in programming when it comes to loop. So the loop keeps on repeating that code until a particular condition is met. And the while loop is used when the number of iterations is unknown and it depends on a condition being met. So you don't know the number of iteration. All you need to do is to set a particular condition that will end the iteration. So, and the formula for a while loop, to write a while loop, goes this way. Use the keyword while. Then inside the bracket to define the condition that will keep the loop running. Then the block of code that will keep running while the condition is true. Right? So that is here, run code block. Right? So while this condition is true, run this code block, and that is how the formula for the while loop. So let's use a simple example to print a range of number from 1 to 5. So let's say, for example, that we define an integer called count, and we assign it an initial value of 1. We want to start printing from 1 to 5. So we'll now define our while loop according to the formula, which is while bracket open. We'll define the condition while count is less than or equal to 5. Do what? Print the count. Print system.out.println count. But then when you are defining a loop, you should put into consideration how to keep updating that condition that is going to end the loop. Else you are going to end up with what we call an infinite loop, means the loop will never end, right? So whenever we print this count, we need to still update the count. Else this count will remain 1 and will always remain less than 5. Hence we should have something like count plus plus. That is to update the count. Increment count by 1. So now let us run this code and see what will happen. You can see we have from 1 to 5 printed on our output. But then how did this happen? Okay, let's explain it right now. So we defined a count here called 1. And in our while loop, we said why the count is less than 5. So what happens is, in the first time it ran this loop, it checked, is count less than or equal to 5? Yes, sure it is. It will come and run this code and print this. And after printing it, it incremented count by 1. And count now becomes 2. It will now come and check again. Is this count still less than 5? Yes, it is, because it is 2. It will run this block of code again, print it out, and increment count by 1 again. Now count becomes 3. It will check again. Is count still less than 5? Yes, it is, because it is 3. It will run this block of code again, print it out, and increment it by 1. It becomes 4. Then it will now come and check again. Is count still less than 5? Yes, it is 4. So it's less than 5. It will print this again, increment it by 1. It becomes 5. It will check again. Is count still less than or equal to 5? Yes, it is not less than 5, but it is equal to 5. So, and count is 5. So it will print this code again and increment by 1. At this moment, count is 6. It will now check again. Is count still less than 5? No, because at this moment count is now 6 automatically. So this while loop ends. It does not run again. And that is what is happening here. So to recap again, a loop is used to repeat a block of code until a certain condition is met. And a while loop is used when the iteration is unknown and it depends on a certain condition being met. This condition being met. So as far as this condition remains true, the block of code will run, else the while loop stops. And that is all for today. So if you have any question on this, you can drop your questions on the comment section, and don't forget to like and subscribe. Thank you.